What if it actually works out? Not the failure, not the disappointment, not the worst case scenario you keep replaying in your mind, but the opposite. What if things go right? Think about it. How much time do you spend imagining failure? What if I fail? What if it doesn't work? What if I'm not good enough? And those questions, they stop you. They slow you down. They make you hesitate. They keep you where it's safe. But let me ask you a different question. What if you succeed? What if the risk you're afraid to take changes your life? What if the decision you keep delaying opens a door you never expected? What if the effort you're putting off actually pays off? You see, your mind is powerful, but most people use it against themselves. They imagine the worst. They prepare for failure. They expect things to go wrong. And when you expect failure, you act differently. You hold back. You play small. You don't give it your all. But when you expect success, everything changes. You move with confidence. You act with intention. You commit fully. Now listen carefully. Fear is not always about what will happen. It's about what might happen. But so is success. So is opportunity. So is growth. The difference is which one you focus on. Most people ask, what if it goes wrong? But successful people ask, what if it goes right? That one question can change your life because it shifts your thinking from doubt to possibility, from hesitation to action, from fear to courage. Now, I'm not telling you to ignore reality. I'm telling you to expand it, to see both sides, to realize that just as failure is possible, so is success. And if both are possible, why not give your energy to the one that moves you forward? So today, we start a different conversation. A conversation that doesn't hold you back, but pushes you forward. Because the truth is simple. What if it actually works out? Let me ask you something. What questions are you asking yourself every day? Because your life is shaped by the questions you ask. Most people don't realize this, but they live inside a pattern of thinking. A pattern that sounds like this. What if I fail? What if it goes wrong? What if I'm not ready? And those questions, they have power. They create doubt. They create hesitation. They create fear. Now listen carefully. Your mind is like a search engine. Ask it a question, and it will find an answer. So when you ask, what if I fail? Your mind immediately begins to search for reasons why you might fail. It brings up past mistakes. It highlights your weaknesses. It magnifies your fears. And suddenly, failure feels real, even if it hasn't happened. Now here's the shift. What if you changed the question? What if instead of asking, what if it goes wrong, you asked, what if it works? Simple, but powerful. Because now, your mind searches for a different answer. It starts to imagine success. It starts to see possibilities. It starts to recognize opportunities. And that changes how you feel. From fear to curiosity. From doubt to hope. From hesitation to movement. Now understand this. You don't act based on reality. You act based on perception. And your perception is shaped by your thoughts. So if your thoughts are focused on failure, your actions will reflect that. You will hold back. You will hesitate. You will play small. But if your thoughts are focused on possibility, your actions begin to expand. You try. You move. You commit. That's the difference. Now let's go deeper. Most people are not stopped by reality. They are stopped by imagination. They imagine failure so clearly that they never even begin. They create a future in their mind, and then they live as if it's already true. But what if you use that same imagination in a different way? What if you imagine success? What if you saw yourself winning? What if you saw things working out? What if you believed, even for a moment, that it could go right? Because here's the truth. Both are possible. Failure is possible. success is possible. So the real question is, which one will you focus on? Now listen carefully. This is not about blind optimism. This is about intentional thinking, choosing thoughts that serve you, choosing questions that move you forward, because not all questions are equal. Some questions limit you. Some questions expand you. What if I fail? Limits you. What if it works? Expands you. And expansion is where growth begins. Now imagine this. You wake up tomorrow, and every decision you face, you ask one simple question. What if it works? What if this opportunity works? What if this effort pays off? What if this risk changes everything? How would you act? You would move faster. You would hesitate less. You would take chances you normally avoid. And over time, those actions would create results. Real results. Because action is what changes your life. Not thinking, not worrying, action. And the right question leads to the right action. Now let me give you something simple, but powerful. Your future is hidden in your questions. Change your questions, and you change your direction. Change your direction, and you change your life. So from this moment on, be aware. Catch yourself when you ask limiting questions. Catch yourself when you drift into doubt, and gently, firmly replace it with something better, with something stronger, with something that moves you forward. What if it works? Let that question guide you. Let it challenge your fears. Let it expand your thinking. Let it push you into action. Because one question asked consistently can change everything. And this one just might change your life. Let me tell you something. Every successful person looked a little crazy in the beginning. Not logical, not realistic, not practical. People looked at them and said, that won't work. You're aiming too high. Be more realistic. And yet, they kept going. Why? Because they had something most people don't. A belief that didn't need permission. A belief that didn't need proof. A belief that others might call delusional. Now listen carefully. The world will always try to measure you based on your current results, where you are, what you've done, what you've achieved. But success is not created from where you are. It's created from what you believe is possible. And sometimes that belief doesn't make sense. Not at the beginning, because there is no evidence yet, no results, no validation, no applause, just you and an idea. Now here's where most people stop. They say, I'll believe it when I see it. But successful people, they reverse it. They say, I'll see it because I believe it. That's the difference. That's the edge. Now think about this. If you only believe in what's realistic, you will only create what's average. Because realistic is based on the past, on what has already been done, on what others have already achieved. But greatness comes from imagining something beyond that, something bigger, something uncomfortable, something uncertain, and yes, something that may look irrational. Now understand this. Delusional self-belief is not arrogance. It's not pretending you're already there. It's trusting that you can get there. Even when the path is unclear, even when the results are invisible, even when no one else sees it. You see, before anything becomes real, it must first exist in the mind. Every success was once just an idea. Every achievement was once just a belief. And in that early stage, it always looks impossible until it happens. Now let me slow this down. The difference between delusion and vision is time. Give it time, give it effort, give it consistency. And what once looked impossible becomes reality. But only for those who didn't give up on their belief. Now here's the challenge. Can you believe in yourself before the results show up? Can you stay committed before the rewards arrive? Can you keep going when nothing around you confirms your vision? Because that's where the test is. That's where most people lose faith. They look around and see no progress, no validation, no immediate success, and they quit. They shrink their dreams. They lower their expectations. They settle. But the ones who succeed, they hold on. They protect their belief. They don't let opinions shake them. They don't let doubt control them. They stay focused because deep down, they know something. They know that belief drives action, and action creates results. Now imagine this. Two people start at the same place. One believes it's possible. The other doubts it. Who takes more action? Who tries harder? Who stays longer? Who pushes further? It's obvious. Belief creates effort. Effort creates progress. Progress creates results. That's the chain. Now here's the truth. At some point, your belief will be tested. People will question you. Circumstances will challenge you. Results may not come as quickly as you hoped. And in those moments, you have a choice. Let go of the belief or hold on to it. The ones who hold on are the ones who win, because eventually the results catch up. Eventually, the work pays off. Eventually, the delusion becomes reality. And suddenly, people change their language. They stop calling it crazy and start calling it genius. They stop doubting and start admiring. But by then, it doesn't matter, because you didn't do it for them. You did it because you believed. Before it was visible, before it was proven, before it was accepted. So if you find yourself believing in something, even when it doesn't make sense, even when others don't understand, even when there's no proof yet, don't ignore it. Don't shrink it. Don't apologize for it. Because that belief, that delusional belief, might be the very thing that creates your success. Let me tell you something. Belief is powerful, but belief alone is not enough. You can think all day. You can hope all day. You can imagine success all day. But if your actions don't match your belief, nothing changes. Because life doesn't respond to what you think. It responds to what you do. Now here's the key. If you truly believe something will work out, you begin to act differently. You show up differently. You speak differently. You carry yourself differently. That's the power of expectation. Expectation shapes behavior, and behavior creates results. Now think about this. Two people start the same journey. One believes it will work. The other doubts it. Who puts in more effort? Who takes more risks? Who stays committed longer? The one who believes. Because belief removes hesitation. It replaces fear with action. Now listen carefully. Acting like it will work out doesn't mean you ignore challenges. It means you don't let them stop you. You expect obstacles. You expect setbacks. But you don't expect defeat. That's the difference. Now most people, they wait. They wait to feel confident. They wait to see proof. They wait for the perfect moment. And while they're waiting, nothing happens. But successful people, they move first. They act before they feel ready. They commit before they have certainty, because they understand something simple. Clarity comes from action, not the other way around. Now let me slow this down. When you act like it will work out, you give your full effort. You don't hold back. You don't play small. You don't keep one foot out the door. You go all in. And that matters, because partial effort creates partial results. But full commitment creates momentum, and momentum changes everything. Now here's something important. Action builds confidence, not thinking, not planning, not waiting. Action. Every time you take a step forward, you prove something to yourself. You prove that you can move. You prove that you can try. You prove that you are capable, and that builds belief. Stronger belief, real belief, the kind that isn't based on hope, but on experience. Now imagine this. You act as if it will work. You take the risk. You put in the effort. You stay consistent. What happens? Opportunities appear. Skills improve. Results begin to show. Not instantly, but gradually. And over time, those small actions turn into something significant. Now compare that to someone who doubts. They hesitate. They overthink. They delay. And because they delay, they never gain momentum. Because they never act, they never see results. And because they never see results, their doubt grows stronger. That's the cycle. Now let's flip it. Action creates progress. Progress builds confidence. Confidence strengthens belief. That's the cycle of success. And it all starts with acting like it will work out. Now understand this. You don't need guarantees. You don't need certainty. You don't need everything figured out. You just need to move. Step by step. Decision by decision. With the mindset that your effort matters. That your actions count. That your future is being shaped by what you do today. Now here's the truth. Most people never reach their potential. Not because they couldn't, but because they didn't act like it was possible. They held back. They doubted. They stayed safe. But you have a choice. You can wait or you can act. You can hesitate or you can commit. You can doubt or you can move forward with belief. So from this moment on, don't just think it might work. Act like it will. Show up fully. Give your best effort. Stay consistent. Because when your actions match your belief, your results will follow. Maybe not immediately, but inevitably. Act like it will work out. And you just might be surprised by how often it does. Let me tell you something. Nothing changes until you move. Not your life. Not your results. Not your future. You can think about it. You can plan for it. You can dream about it. But if you don't act, nothing happens. Now here's the truth most people avoid. Staying where you are feels safe. No risk, no uncertainty, no discomfort, but also no growth, no progress, no change. Just the same life, repeated over and over again. Now listen carefully. The biggest risk in life is not taking one. Because when you avoid risk, you guarantee one thing. Nothing improves. Now think about this. You already know what happens if you do nothing. You already know the result of staying the same. So why are you so afraid to try something different? Why are you so afraid to step forward? Because of fear. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of the unknown. But here's what you must understand. Fear is not a signal to stop. It's a signal that you're about to grow. Every opportunity comes with uncertainty. Every step forward comes with risk. And that's not a problem. That's the process. Now let's break this down. There are two types of pain in life. The pain of discipline and the pain of regret. Discipline is uncomfortable now. Effort, risk, action. But regret is painful later. Much more painful. Because regret doesn't just ask, what happened? It asks, what could have happened if you tried? And that question stays with you. Now imagine this. 2 years from now, you look back at today. What will you see? Will you see action? Will you see growth? Will you see progress? Or will you see hesitation? Missed chances? Unanswered opportunities? Dreams you never pursued because you didn't move. Now here's the shift. You don't need to eliminate fear. You just need to act despite it. That's courage. Not the absence of fear, but the decision to move anyway. Now understand this. Risk is not reckless. It's calculated. It's thoughtful. It's intentional. But it still requires movement. You still have to step forward. You still have to try. Because no amount of thinking can replace action. Now let me give you something simple. Action creates opportunity. When you move, doors open. When you try, you learn. When you take the risk, you grow. Even if it doesn't work the first time, even if it's not perfect, because progress is built through experience. Now compare two people. One waits, one acts. The one who waits stays the same. The one who acts gains experience. And experience is power. It teaches you. It shapes you. It prepares you. So even when things don't go as planned, you still win because you're moving forward. Now here's the final truth. You cannot change your life without changing your actions. And you cannot change your actions without taking a risk. So stop waiting. Stop overthinking. Stop looking for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. Start where you are. Use what you have. Take the step, because nothing changes until you do. Take the risk. Make the move. Step into the unknown and watch your life begin to change. One decision at a time. Let me tell you something. Not everything will work out. Not every plan will succeed. Not every effort will bring immediate results. And that's okay. Because here's the truth most people never understand. You can still win, even when it doesn't work out. Now listen carefully. Success is not just about outcomes. It's about who you become in the process. The discipline you build, the strength you develop, the lessons you learn. That's where the real value is. Now think about this. When something doesn't go as planned, most people see it as failure. They stop. They doubt. They quit. But successful people, they see it differently. They see feedback. They ask, what did this teach me? How can I improve? What can I do better next time? And that mindset keeps them moving. Now here's something powerful. Every attempt makes you stronger. Every effort makes you smarter. Every challenge makes you more prepared. So even if the result isn't what you wanted, you are not the same person you were before. You've grown, and growth is progress. Now let's go deeper. Imagine two people trying to succeed. One tries once and stops. The other keeps going, learning each time. Who wins in the long run? It's obvious. The one who stays in the process. Because success is not about one moment. It's about consistency over time. Now understand this. The process is not always exciting. It's slow. It's repetitive. It's sometimes frustrating, but it's necessary. Because greatness is built in the process, not in the outcome. The outcome is just the result of what you've been doing all along. Now here's the shift. Instead of asking, did it work? Ask, did I grow? Did I learn something? Did I improve? Did I become better? If the answer is yes, then you're winning, even if it doesn't feel like it yet. Now listen carefully. There is no wasted effort, no wasted attempt. Everything you do adds something to you. Skills, experience, confidence. And over time, those things compound. They build momentum. They move you closer to your goal. Now here's the final truth. You don't lose when things don't work out. You lose when you stop trying. That's the only real failure. Giving up, walking away, deciding it's not worth it. But if you stay in the game, if you keep learning, if you keep improving, if you keep moving forward, you will succeed. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually, because the process works for those who trust it. Now imagine this. You keep going. You keep learning. You keep growing day after day. What happens? You become stronger, more capable, more confident. And one day, everything starts to come together. Not by chance, but by design. Because you stayed. Because you trusted the process. Because you didn't quit. So here's the lesson. Don't measure your life only by outcomes. Measure it by growth. Measure it by effort. Measure it by who you are becoming. Because even when it doesn't work out, you are still winning. And that is how real success is built. So let me leave you with this. What if it actually works out? What if the risk you're avoiding is the one that changes your life? What if the belief you're afraid to hold is the one that sets you free? What if the action you keep delaying is the one that creates your future? You've spent enough time thinking about failure, enough time imagining what could go wrong. Now it's time to think differently, to act differently, to live differently. Remember, success is not luck. It's not magic. It's a decision to believe, a decision to act, a decision to keep going no matter what. Because even if it doesn't work out, you grow, you learn, you become stronger. And if you stay in the process, if you keep moving forward, eventually it will work out. Maybe not the way you expected, but in a way that shapes you, builds you, and leads you where you're meant to go. So don't hold back. Don't wait. Don't let fear write your story. Ask yourself one powerful question. What if it works? And then go find out.